Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's just about 5:34 in Boston with Bax and Nagle and Rock 102.
It's going to be a nice day today. Mix of sun and clouds with a high of 57. Tomorrow, even nicer, sunny with a high of 65. And snow on Friday. How about that?
Perfect.
It's 34 downtown Springfield.
We got tickets to the original Western Mass Home and Garden Show later on this morning. So if you're looking to look at ways in which you can pave your patio or put up a gazebo,
yeah,
that's your way to do it.
All right.
Okay?
I'm looking forward to that.
And guests. Oh, have we got guests today?
We got a guest today who's having some issues with Western New England University. You know what? Ever since they changed over to the university, they have become almost like the Gestapo of colleges.
Nobody's happy over there.
Nobody.
Why should you be?
All right.
Also, Andrew Osborne, the city producer for the Boston 48-Hour Film Project. We talked to him around 8:50 this morning. There's that and more. It's Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Call or text us anytime on the Route 10 Tire listener line at 413-293-1021.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:52 and Def Leppard with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be mostly sunny today with a high of 57. Tomorrow, even nicer with a high of 65. It's 34 right now in downtown Springfield.
Hollywood Trash is brought to you by Western Mass Masons. Call them for all your foundation and chimney needs.
Somehow you still care about what's happening in Hollywood. So, from Tinseltown, 3,000 miles away, it's Steve Nagle's Hollywood Trash.
Tracy Morgan went to the Knicks game last night.
He didn't see it all, though.
Nope. He went to last night's Knicks Heat game at Madison Square Garden and then left in a wheelchair. During the third quarter, Tracy apparently puked on the court and also had a bloody nose. The game was halted for about 10 minutes while he was attended to, and to put Speedy Dried down for the cleanup. Someone who tweeted video of Tracy being wheeled out with a towel on his face said he could, quote, barely stand up. As of last night, there was no word on his condition. The Madison Square Garden rep said, quote, we hope Tracy feels better soon and look forward to seeing him back courtside. It's kind of scary, actually.
Did you see the video?
I watched it earlier, but...
I mean, listen, you're at a Knicks game, you're sitting courtside, it's St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure he was not the only one that puked at Madison Square Garden last night.
Probably not.
I'm surprised they didn't have to drain the entire arena from all the vomit and public urination that would have happened during a normal Knicks game.
Can you imagine if it was a Knicks Celtics game? That would have been even, with all the Irish theme behind it.
You'd be swimming in bodily waste.
I saw some lady at the St. Patrick's Day parade in Boston yesterday.
Yeah.
She got hit with a sweet potato in the head. Somebody... I just got hit with this.
And it was sweet potato.
Yeah, somebody threw a yam at her. I was like, that's very Boston.
It is.
To have somebody throw something so odd in the middle of a crowd. But FAFO, you go to St. Patrick's Day in Boston.
Was it cooked at least?
Yeah, it was a hard full.
That can do damage.
Uncooked. Well, it could do damage, but this is why I don't go out in public to these events.
Probably all for the best.
Didn't you ever get hit in the head with a potato at the St. Patrick's Day parade or St. Patrick's parade in Holyoke?
Yeah, but at least it was cooked and boiled first. The hard part was getting all the sour cream and butter off my shirt.
Was it soaking in urine from a city councilor all day?
No.
Simmering in a pot.
No, but I was.
Oh yeah, I bet you were. Cringy things. Let's see. Can you believe the pandemic started 5 years ago?
Hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, we all did weird, cringy things back then, including celebrities. Here are 8 examples. That horrible Imagine video. You remember that?
Ugh.
Probably
horrific.
The king of COVID cringe. Gail Godot got all her celebrity friends to lift us up by singing John Lennon's Imagine, and that was only 6 days in. And then Vanessa Hudgens comments after they canceled Coachella. Vanessa went on Instagram Live and said predictions that the outbreak might last through July sounded like, quote, a bunch of BS. She added, it's a virus, I get it, like I respect it, but at the same time, even if everybody gets it, yeah, like people are going to die, which is terrible, but like inevitable?
And then they canceled Coachella, which is maybe the biggest tragedy of all of it.
Actually, some good things come from pandemics.
Yes.
Madonna and Katy Perry got fooled by a meme. There was a video of a quarantined Italians singing together from their rooftops and balconies. And fake versions substituting a cappella versions of Katy's Roar and Madonna's I Rise went viral. Both women were fooled and reposted the clips. Speaking of Madonna, she also posted a video from her bathtub with rose petals floating on the surface of the wall. They're calling COVID the Great Equalizer. Yeah, I really like being locked down in my house for an entire 2 years.
How'd she get the rose petals? What florist was open back then?
Well, she's Madonna.
I don't care if she's Madonna or the Queen of England. I mean,
she might have a rose garden somewhere.
I beg your pardon?
She might have a rose garden. Evangeline Lilly proudly tweeted on March 16th she was not quarantining or social distancing. She ended up apologizing and calling herself arrogant.
I could have told you that.
Yeah, we didn't even need for her to say that. And then Sia tweeted the word virus with the VIR crossed out, so it just said us, which apparently meant something.
I don't know. I have
and
no
it really
idea.
Didn't. Man, those were the days.
I miss
the COVID days.
I miss those early days. Apart from the tragedies and what have you.
I gotta tell you, it was kind of fun for the first month because you didn't have to do anything or go anywhere.
Yeah, but
and then all of a sudden it started. I'm like, wait a minute, this is gonna go on now.
Yeah, but then once you started realizing the people you knew were very, very sick, or you really needed a haircut very badly, then things started to turn very negative for me.
So I don't have to worry about the haircut thing.
My lifeline during the entire COVID experience was the fact that Rice's Fruit Farm was still making pies.
Well, there was always a silver lining in the cloud out there.
Thank you for your support of society, Rice's.
Not only does Justin Bieber feel undeserving, but now he's drowning. In a new Instagram story, he says, quote, "I was always told when I was a kid not to hate, but it made me feel like I wasn't allowed to have it, so I didn't tell anyone I've had it, which made me feel like I've been drowning, feeling unsafe and to acknowledge it. I think we can only let hate go by first acknowledging it's there." Like how people hate you.
Yeah, well, there's something going on with Justin. It's things are not good over there.
You know what? Any of these kids that were involved in, like, at a young age that had so much fame and money, and then we're getting screwed left and right, I think that does some psychological damage to you.
I think you're right.
Look at Dana Plato, for God's sakes. That was a tragedy. She wound up doing coke and porn and all that stuff. Justin did visit Disneyland over the weekend with his wife Haley and his friend the Kid Leroy. I'd never heard of that. He appeared to be having a good time. Well, I'm glad he had a good time.
It's the happiest place on earth, even for someone who's visibly miserable.
Is it though?
Supposed to be.
And Universal Music wants Drake's lawsuit against the company dropped. They say he's only suing them because he lost his rap battle with Kendrick Lamar and he's just trying to save face. I hate the Drake. He can drown in Kendrick Lamar's...
Right.
And Kim Kardashian used an app to make her look herself old.
Really?
Yeah, she had wrinkles all over her face.
Well, she must have something to say.
Oh my God, the last time I had wrinkles on my face like this was when Ray J placed his snack pack sack attack on my chin and went pudding cup to the town and that sex tape you can purchase on YouPorn for $39.95.
Caitlin?
Well, I never got that down and dirty with your mother, Chris Kim, but I once gave her the brown blooper. Accidente.
Sure.
French kisses on the underturtle.
What are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is I was slurping fudge from the copper penny. Who wants some of my dangle meat?
No,
you want any of my dangle meat?
I'm good.
And that's your Hollywood trash on Rock 102. Ugh.
School habit stains, plus rock solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, let's face it, with about 3 weeks left to go before the NBA playoffs, I think we can all agree this is no time for unexpected delays, hiccups, or disruptions. The regular season is a critical juncture as teams around the league are busy trying to get themselves situated for postseason play. That means we must all do our part. The players need to play, coaches need to coach, and ticket-paying fans have to stop vomiting from their courtside seats. Last night at Madison Square Garden, as the Knicks were on their way to handing the Miami Heat their 8th straight loss, play was delayed for a full 10 minutes during the third quarter. According to reports, the game was paused after a fan sitting courtside began blowing chow all over the court. The fan in question was actor-comedian Tracy Morgan. Tracy was quickly attended to by medical professionals and was removed from his seat in a wheelchair. The delay continued for several more minutes while staff members cleaned, dried, and disinfected the entire playing surface. Only after the court had been cleared of the vomit was the game allowed to continue, with the Knicks winning the game 116-95. Folks, I can see vomiting during an NBA game if you're a fan of the Miami Heat or the Utah Jazz or some other team that sucks, but the Knicks have the third best record in the Eastern Conference. This is not the time for explosive fan vomiting during crucial late-season play. I should also point out that courtside seats at Madison Square Garden can run you up to $5,600 per ticket. You start puking in the back row, I'm pretty sure there's no delay of the game, and there's a pretty good chance that the maintenance crew are going to wait until everybody leaves before somebody grabs a mop. The good news is Tracy Morgan's going to be fine. But more importantly, the Knicks have won 6 out of the last 10 games and be on the road against the Spurs, who are absolutely terrible tonight. The reason I'm bringing this up, of course, is because if you have courtside seats for the Celtics game tonight, you might want to consider putting your puke in designated areas and receptacles when they host the Brooklyn Nets this evening at 7:30. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. You know, there's a new Traeger in town, the Traeger Woodbridge, a fully digital wood pellet grill. Now $800 at Rocky's. High-tech, digital control, down-to-earth wood fire flavor. Fantastic. Get a Traeger Woodbridge today at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102, Springfield.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's just about 6:14, and Brian Adams with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be a mix of sun and clouds today. Nice day, high of 57. Tomorrow, even nicer, sunny with a high of 65. It's 34 right now in downtown Springfield. We got a couple of guests coming up.
Yeah, we got Andrew Osborne, who's supposed to be joining us last week. He is the city producer. This is a really cool thing, the Boston 48-Hour Film Project. There's cities all over the country and actually all over the world that are competing for this film project. And you basically write, record, edit a film in 48 hours, and it gets submitted, and the winners get to be seen at the Cannes Film Festival in France, and it's an amazing competition, and we'll be talking to him around 8:50 this morning.
And there's a little complicated story we'll get into after 7 o'clock about a comfort dog that's being seized, if you will, by Western New England University. And this woman, Brianna, will be in here to explain all that going on there. Yesterday, I know you kind of tapped out early. You didn't. You just went home and you didn't celebrate the St. Patty's Day celebrations.
I had a piece of leftover corned beef for lunch.
That's
about as good as it got.
And you have to I'm sure you're portioned out now because you got you can't have like a whole side of corned beef.
No. I had literally one slice.
Yeah,
it was 4.5 inches thick, but it was only one slice.
I made that other brisket with Smittix.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, don't do it.
I think it's the richness of the Guinness that's so important. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to try it. I mean, I was talking with the boss yesterday, and we were agreeing that cooking with beer is a good idea.
Yeah.
You had bratwurst or whatever like that.
You definitely parboil them in beer. But but from a drinking experience, I would prefer Smittix over a Guinness any day.
Well, I wasn't drinking them. I was just buying them, and nobody had them. The only place that had them was Table and Vine.
Really?
Yeah. There was 3 package stores I went to locally that didn't have Smittix. But I guess it's not that big of a there's no demand for it.
Huh. Well, but it's also St. Patrick's Day. So if someone were to have it, you could see where they might sell out of it.
No, they didn't even stock it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
I
wound up stopping at Table and Vine on the way. Table and Vine has everything down there. You can find rarities down at Table and Vine.
There's a couple things you can't find anymore.
But so I did that, and I went to Nathan Bill's yesterday for the St. Patrick's Day celebrations.
Right.
And man, there's nothing better than watching people who have started drinking at 8:00 in the morning.
So true.
shoving shepherd's pie down their throats by noontime.
You got there at what time?
11.
11.
Yeah.
So they were already 2-3 hours in.
3 hours in. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
The thing that gets me is, don't these people work? Like, don't these? I'm not besmirching the fact that the bar is open. I'm just saying, like, there was a ton of people there, like a ton of people.
There are a good deal of people that will take the day off, but there's a lot of people that work odd shifts that just go home after work. This is the kind of thing where they say, no, I'm going out.
Yeah,
I'm taking advantage of this drinking once in a lifetime drinking opportunity.
You mean once in a year lifetime drinking opportunity, because it happens every year.
Assuming they survive a day like yesterday, yes.
But I mean, you got the whole week full of events. You get, they have Thursday nights. They usually kick off, most bars around the area kick off the road race weekend.
Yep.
And then they have the after parties on Saturdays, for all the road race fans. And then you got the parade on Sunday.
And Tuesday, Thursdays, you would think, well, maybe those are my days off.
You got to give your liver a break.
You got to give your liver a break, I'd say, like on Tuesday. Wednesday, maybe you start easing your way back into it. You don't want to shock the system.
I used to work with a guy at the railroad who would do this. He'd have these binge nights where he'd get completely effed up and then take a night off because he felt that was the healthiest thing to do.
It's kind of like the intermittent fasting of booze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he died of liver cirrhosis. Can you believe that?
What a shocker.
How about that?
Bet people never saw that coming.
No, nobody ever saw that one coming. That guy.
He seemed so alive the other day when I was pulling his head out of the toilet.
He was one of those guys that would like show up to work with like the back window blown out of his Cadillac, and they'd be like, "What happened?" He's like, "Well, I gave a hooker." He did one of those Michigan bank rolls where you put the 20 in and a bunch of ones inside.
Yes.
Wasn't quite as much as she asked for. And then some pimp smashed his window out.
Oh, that's too bad.
Hey, see, if you can't trust a hooker, whom can you trust?
Usually pimps are such reasable people.
I know, yeah. Listen, negotiate a little
bit. Listen, they're willing to discuss.
Yeah.
Anyway. You can haggle.
I've met some interesting people throughout my life. I really have. And then last night, after dinner, my daughter, she's doing this project for her English class, and it's like interview somebody in your house, right?
Right.
Well, there's only two of us that you can interview. Your younger sister don't want anything to do with that. So, I'm the guy.
Yeah. Plus, you're full of memories.
I'm full of memory, and it was all memories about like your childhood and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like this, and they have to write a poem or an essay or whatever the deal is. She had to ask me some questions.
Well, what kind of questions?
Like, what is your favorite childhood? What smell do you remember from your childhood? And I'm like, Jim Beam and stuffing being cooked on Thanksgiving. It was the aroma of Jim Beam as you walked down the stairs, and you could smell the Jim Beam and the fresh stuffing being cooked for the turkey that would later be dried out because somebody passed out and forgot that the turkey was in the oven.
There wasn't like that smell of that smoldering Winston down to its filter.
Yeah, and then you and I were talking about this off the air, and it reminded me about how my parents used to. They used to go to the Indian reservations and buy the cheap cigarettes back in the day when they allowed the Indian reservations to have they'd give them free cigarettes in exchange for all of their land that they took away from them. Hey, you know what?
Hey, it's an even even Steven.
We're taking this by eminent domain, but here's some free smokes, And they would get them. I remember they were like $8 a carton for cigarettes back then.
What are they now? $100?
Over $100.
Jesus.
But I remember them like they would save the wrappers of all the Winston. My dad would get all this racing stuff like NASCAR because it was used to be the Winston Cup.
Yeah,
it was the thing. They don't do that anymore because they took the tobacco out of racing.
Yeah, it's a tragedy.
But then I also remember my brother smoked Marlboros, and then my parents got on that bandwagon of saving the Marlboro miles, and they would like trade them in for all this sporting equipment.
Because sports and cigarettes go hand in hand.
And you think back, you're like, what an odd thing to pair
Well, actually, when you think about generationally speaking, you ever see like that picture of like Len Dawson from the Kansas City Chiefs in like Super Bowl II or Super Bowl 1, sitting on the sidelines smoking a cigarette before he's about to go into the game? Back then, cigarettes were like performance-enhancing drugs.
I know, but I mean, just the idea that you can trade in all of your cigarettes that you smoked for athletic equipment.
Rita, the basketball's arrived.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of come here. I remember seeing some comedian back in the 90s talking about that, and he's like, I saved up all my Marlboro miles for a kayak. You know what I use it for? It's in my living room as an ashtray. They used to sell like camping gear and all this like things that you would have to like physically exert yourself. I'm like, all the magazines that used to come in, it was all this cool stuff that they would give away.
Yeah.
I knew nobody who smoked that looked like any of those people in those pictures. Like nobody was. We didn't go camping. My dad didn't go hiking.
Yeah, right.
He couldn't because he had the blood clots in his legs from all the cigarettes that he smoked and all the booze that he drank to go along with it.
I always thought like Newport cigarettes had the best tagline.
Yeah.
Alive with pleasure.
Yeah.
And then you show a guy like sitting in a hospital bed strapped up to like an oxygen tank.
Yeah.
He's like, he's
alive.
See. Look at the pleasure he's enjoying.
But I always thought that was quite ironic. So it was all these memories that got drummed up. I can't wait to see what this essay looks like.
It's 6:23 on Rock 102. 6:26 at Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
And Dan Brown will have the full forecast for you.
Hey, Bacon and Brews is back, and it's brought to you by Dave Miner, Exterior Home Improvements and Aquapump. You can join us on Sunday, April 13th from noon to 3. It's a big bacon and craft beer themed bash. Your admission includes all the bacon you can possibly pack down your chow pipe from the Log Cabin Chefs, plus a cash bar with a selection of local craft beers like Backy's Brewing and Loophole, live music from the band Stimulus. Tickets are on sale at rock102.com, but I'm going to warn you, there's like 10 tickets left. 10.
10.
That's it. So these could easily sell by the end of the show. So if you want to go, you get to rock102.com right away. You got to be over 21 with a positive ID to enter. It's Bacon and Brews, brought to you by Dave Miner Exterior Home Improvements with Aquapump, with support from Nor'easter Organic Life Hydroponics, the Tommy Carr Auto Group, GG Inks, and Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
You ready to laugh?
I'm ready to laugh.
Let's laugh.
It's Bax and Nagle's Joke of the Day
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you.
on Rock 102,
I make you laugh.
Springfield's Classic Rock.
Why did the Methanopyrus candeleri use its monotrichous flagella to cross the road?
I don't know, Steve. Why did all that just happen?
It's hard to say. I get it.
It's hard to say.
The whole thing was hard to say. Yeah,
the whole joke. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Bax and Nagle in the morning on Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
Here's your
6:30 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Did you see what was happening over in West Springfield yesterday?
No, what was happening in West Springfield yesterday?
Irish culture and pride were on full display Monday evening in West Springfield for St. Patrick's Day celebrations. Western Massachusetts residents donned green and shamrocks while coming together at the Irish Cultural Center. Surprised there's not like fistfights going on over there.
There probably were.
Featured was the Holyoke...
Isn't that the Irish handshake?
You're punching each other in the mouth? Yeah. I'm going to punch you square in the mouth. Featured was the Holyoke Caledonians Pipe Band, led by Sergeant Rory McLean. The Casson Academy of Dance also performed, and member of the center Connor Driscoll says that this day brings everyone together, no matter their background. People are so thirsty for knowledge of their Irish culture. Yeah, they're thirsty.
For Jameson, too.
Yeah. And Guinness. Even if it's only for today or a whole week.
I'll have your finest green beer, please.
We want to make sure we can give them the right information, help people find out where their great-grandmother is from, or nobody really cares about that. They just want to say, hey, where's that, how old is that keg?
No way. In those situations, the kegs are never that old. They were like, they're seized at birth.
And the green season doesn't end on St. Patrick's Day. The center will be hosting special Irish events through the end of the month. What is it? St. Patrick's Day was the original millennial girl who celebrates birthday week. It's my birthday. We're going all week long, even though it's only one day.
We're getting our nails done, and then we're going to the limo and drinking 15 bars in a night.
Yeah. By the way, make sure you have lots and lots and lots of money to spend on my birthday week.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that's a lot of money being thrown around. Hey, at least it's keeping the economy going in the area. You know, they say that the Holyoke St. Patrick's Parade brings in, what, a couple of $1 million in local revenue.
Yeah, and it's mostly booze related, but who cares? It's still revenue going into the city.
Yeah, that's right. Reconstruction work is soon to begin at the X in Springfield. According to the Springfield DPW, Mass DOT will be creating a website that will include the ability for the public to follow along with the construction schedule and sign up for notifications. Oh, it's kind of like your own Sim City game.
Everyone gets a chance to put a brick in.
Yeah. There will also be a project hotline number as well as an email address for community members to discuss with the project team. A public information meeting is set for early May where officials will present construction phase of the project. Ooh, geez. Little Guinness this morning.
I guess
this
so.
Morning. We'll present the construction phase of the project to the public.
Now, this is to
redo the entire X.
To redo the entire thing.
Yeah.
Is it still going to be? Because is it still the plan to put like a rotary there?
I think there's several rotaries that are going in there, which kind of makes sense. You know, I was always kind of opposed to the rotary, and then, having experienced different locations around the country when they put rotaries in, it actually does make traffic flow a lot better than a multi-intersection where you're waiting and waiting and waiting. The feeder line of traffic in a rotary is a lot quicker than waiting for a traffic light to happen.
It's true, but a lot of people don't know how to navigate through a rotary.
Yeah.
Even if they have the opportunity to be driving on them frequently. But it happens where I think people are confused. And then they go to East Longmeadow and they realize, hey, wait a minute, this is completely opposite of everything we've ever known about rotaries.
Yeah.
So I understand it. I can't say I like every one of them. Some of them are like they're almost too small.
Yeah, a little too small.
Like I understand it's a constant flow of traffic, but it's still a reckless free for all, even if it's safer.
Yeah, I went to where was it? Saratoga a few years ago and saw there was like 4 of them in a row. Like you're coming up to 4 different rotaries.
Right.
And while it was kind of surprising, it also did make all of these intersections that you would have been waiting at traffic lights for, well over 10 minutes as opposed to driving straight through in less than 4. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. We'll see how they redesign this whole thing. Man, if any location in Springfield needs to be redone, it's definitely the X.
Yes, it is a monkey fist of activity.
But here's my real concern. Where are the panhandlers going to stand now that they don't have the islands anymore to do that?
I'll tell you what, the one on what is it, Tapley and St. James?
Yeah.
They used to be loaded with panhandlers.
Not anymore.
Now, yeah. It's not safe for them to be out there. No one can stop and give you money.
I guess it is panhandler season. You can always. I was saying that a couple of weeks ago. You can always tell the weather's getting warmer when they start emerging and start holding up the signs.
Yeah, it really is the coming of spring.
You can smell the fresh Sharpie and cardboard in the air.
Yeah, forget about the hyacinths, coming out of the ground, or those early fall, spring bulbs that are emerging from the earth. It's the homeless, and whether they're panhandling in parking areas or rotaries.
Holyoke officials are asking nonprofits in the area to help pay for municipal services. It's called a pilot policy that was just approved days ago. Pilot is an acronym for payment in lieu of taxes, but even if it pertained to airports, because it's pilot, even if it pertained to airports, this flight could be ready for takeoff. I like how they
very clever use of words.
That kid over at Western Mass News knowing how to write these stories. Stephen Huntley, executive director of the Valley Opportunity Council, it's important to us as an organization to make sure we're being a good neighbor. It's not a tax, it's a payment. Holyoke Mayor Josh Garcia is out with a new policy aimed to collect money from nonprofits who own buildings in the area. We believe that paying this is important to have a healthy, vibrant community in the area that we serve. They are voluntary payments, slated to begin on July 1st. Oh, you don't even have to pay it.
It's a tax. Don't kid yourself.
It's a tax that you don't have to pay.
And if people are given the choice, guess what'll happen? They won't.
It's based on fair market value and tax levy. The city wants them to pay a portion of the money they would have without that status. Huntley said the Valley Opportunity Council is already paying. We pay assessed property tax on all the properties that we own in Holyoke, and we also own some properties in Chicopee as well. Well, do they pay them?
I don't know.
The payments re-enter the city, and the goal is to help pay for municipal services used by everyone, but Huntley added that the prerequisite for the payment should be that if you can't pay, that's okay. I think the size and the financial status of the organization should be what the factor is. The team behind the policy at Collins Center recommends a 25% payment on taxes on property, but it was simply that a recommendation. It can also be lowered for other organizations.
The insinuation you should pay.
Sounds like a shakedown.
It does. That's probably how everyone else who has to pay looks at it, too.
Hey, you want to do business here with your nonprofit? Why don't you kick up some money to the king, if you know what I'm saying?
How about the you wet my beak?
You know, it would be a real shame here if this nonprofit wasn't here anymore.
It would be a real shame if someone were to trip over that front step 9 times or 10 times.
That would be a real shame around here. Multiple searches were executed in Massachusetts by environmental police as a result of a months-long multi-state investigation connected to illegally obtained wildlife. The Mass Environmental Police, the Fish Police, announced on Monday that the department worked in conjunction with the Maine Warden Service and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to track down illegally taken game. The wildlife was reportedly caught in Maine and brought to 2 separate locations in Massachusetts. The investigation team worked together to determine probable cause and issue search warrants for the 2 locations where the game was allegedly located. Upon searching, officers seized over 150 packages of wild game meat and a moose skull with the antlers still attached, as well as licensing documents. Hey, Ruggy! The main...
Again?
Now here's something you'll really like. The Maine Warden Service served multiple summons to the suspects for the multiple fish and game violations of their Title 12 statuses. The Mass Environmental Police charged the suspects with 2 counts of transport of illegally obtained game from outside of the Commonwealth. Yeah, there's a market for everything, isn't there?
No kidding. Like out-of-state game meat? I didn't realize there was a
black
market for that.
Black market game meat. I don't know if I would want that.
I wouldn't. Well, first of all, I don't feel real comfortable buying meat out of a parking lot or the back of someone's truck.
Why? What's so wrong about that?
I don't know. It's just like one of my big bugaboos, like bear traps and having sex with old women. But other than that, that's about it.
Hey, I got everything here from snapping turtle to wild turkeys and everything in between. Come on to my back of my pickup truck.
Don't mind the maggots.
This town's full of money grabbers.
Go ahead.
Bite the Big Apple. If you're hammered at a bar on St. Patrick's Day weekend, you may get the urge to sing Linger by the Cranberries.
Nope, not once.
But it's not cool to turn into a zombie if it doesn't work out. A 34-year-old man in Clearwater, Florida, named Aaron Jablonski, was at a place called the Overtime Sports Bar at 2:30 a.m. this past Saturday when he apparently became furious because the karaoke machine wasn't working. Sons of bitches.
The whole night is ruined.
He stormed out, and that's when another karaoke fan tried to get him to cool down, but he was not in the mood, and he pulled out a gun out of his waistband. He then pointed it at the other man and shouted, "I don't effing care." Someone called the police, and when they showed up, Aaron still had the gun. Witnesses say they saw him waving it around and firing off a round, but no one was hurt. Aaron was arrested on 2 felony charges, aggravated assault and possession of a firearm by a felon. This wasn't his first round of karaoke,
No,
apparently.
he has butchered songs in the past and will do it again.
His rap sheet includes convictions for DUI, disorderly conduct, theft, and 2 separate incidents of battery on a police officer.
And hogging all the time by doing Paradise by the Dashboard Lights twice in a single evening.
And he doesn't look that dangerous. He's a young man.
Yeah, but you put a microphone
Yeah.
in his hands with music without any vocals.
He can kill everybody in the room.
He's a killer.
Yeah, he
He's
is a killer.
bloodthirsty.
I've never been that upset over karaoke. I've never seen that happen at Mingles. They were the karaoke bar.
I don't know what to tell you. I know some people get pretty worked up when it comes to karaoke.
There's not a lot of I think Doc's Place is the only place that still has karaoke in the area.
There's some places in Connecticut that got it, but up north, up here, not as many as there used to be.
Not too big, right?
Yeah.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 57. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 65. It is 33 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news from Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Springfield's Classic.
Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:51, and the Beatles with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 57. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 65. It's 33 right now in downtown Springfield.
Time for Rock 102's Bracket Brawl, brought to you by Neutral. Go to rock102.com and make your picks before the first game, which is March 20th, which is 2 days from today. You make the best picks of the entire tournament. You could get a $500 cash card, and if you are lucky enough to complete an improbable perfect bracket, you could win $1 million. In fact, we have it stacked right there on the conference table, just waiting to be handed off to the next person who gets the perfect brackets.
And the first game is Thursday, right?
That's correct. It's Rock 102's Bracket Brawl, brought to you by Neutral Vodka Seltzer, Real Juice, The Yard Tavern, and Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock.
I filled out our friendly office pool bracket yesterday.
Yeah, I did too,
Yeah.
and we'll see how that goes.
Mine's what's your? Did you name yours?
I didn't name mine, and don't we have like a group of like just employees?
Yeah, the link was sent to us yesterday with the.
I don't
I want to
know.
join that group so
I'm
you
gonna-
can compete with the rest of the employees here.
I thought I did, but I got confused.
You got confused.
Yeah, no, I got very confused. But that's listen. There's still time for me to fill out an additional set of brackets.
I named mine Brackstreet's Back All Right.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, that's
Huh?
very good.
Yeah, because it's gonna crash and burn like the Backstreet Boys.
Remarkably clever.
It's gonna be popular for a little while.
Yeah.
Then it'll fizzle out.
Exactly.
Just like the Backstreet Boys.
We got an interesting interview coming up next hour. This is about a situation that's going on at Western New England, and we will get to the bottom of that in just a couple of minutes.
It involves a comfort dog that was trained by a handler at an officer, a Western New England University officer, and then that officer's wife is here to tell the story. I guess there's you can't just come on under the guise of being a police officer and then.
Well, the dog has a gag order. And
Well,
so,
that's what's really going on here. It's kind of a crazy story, so we'll get into that after 7:00. Hey, Forever 21 is going out of business at the age of 40.
It's 20. If you told me this 19 years ago, I would never have believed it.
I know. The company behind Forever 21 has filed bankruptcy for the second time in 6 years. This time they're closing all stores in the U.S. They've been struggling for years, and they've blamed a lot of their troubles on the competition from foreign fast fashion retailers like Shein and Temu, especially after online shopping boomed during the pandemic. In 2019, Forever 21 had about 800 locations worldwide with 43,000 employees, but they closed 30% of them in their first bankruptcy filing. There are roughly still 540 locations around the world, but not anymore. This will be a wind down of business operations, including liquidation sales. The Forever 21 brand might live on through licensing deals, but this is basically the nail in the coffin. Forever 21 was over the hill at 40 years old. The company was founded by a Korean couple in Los Angeles in 1984, selling clothing designs that were similar to the ones that were popular in South Korea at the time.
Not the ones in North Korea. I mean, if you like drab gray during all 4 seasons of the year, it's perfect.
You ever see those videos in North Korea
Yeah.
and how it's all faked? because they don't let their people out of their homes other than to go to work camps. And yet the people that are walking the streets of North Korea are like, it's an act. And the storefronts aren't even real.
They're all facades, yeah.
That's weird.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit much, you could say. But listen, hey, who are we to sit here and talk about the axis of evil on this show?
Well, I'm just saying. I've been seeing these like hidden videos. People are like these tourists are taking hidden videos, and that's what they do it for. They do it for the tourists that come into the country. They make it look like there's stuff going on there, but there's really nothing going on.
I'm pretty sure there's a very good reason why Dennis Rodman has not gone back.
Well, he didn't want to have to work.
He probably thought, hey, you know what? The weather's nice, but this place sucks.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd thing. But anyway, back to Forever 21. They should have quit when they were 21. When they turned 21, that would have been it.
Yeah, or Forever 21, and why won't my parents treat me like an adult?
Yeah.
Like, that would have made sense.
Why can't I take the car out now? I can drink. We can legally drink now. I'm Forever 21.
Mom, what's with all these rules?
Yeah, what's with all the rules you got going on here?
It's 6:57 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Your hands together.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Benjamin Moore Paint, Cabot Stains, plus rock-solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, not to sound like a bitter old man, but back in my day, when it came to things like college basketball recruitment, schools could only offer you things like a meaningless education and the empty promise of extra playing time. And while I suppose a free education is nice, it's not nearly as nice as a free education, a Cadillac Escalade, and a stack of endorsement opportunities. And that, my friends, is why college sports is so damn thrilling. But of course, up until about 24 hours ago, the NCAA had things like rules and regulations. Today, not so much. Yesterday, the NCAA announced that they officially removed the stipulation that prohibited negotiations of name, image, and likeness payments until after a student-athlete had enrolled into their school of choice. Prior to a lawsuit which claimed that such restrictions violated antitrust laws, the NCAA believed that such a provision would protect student-athletes from the vulture-like temptations of team boosters from unfairly enticing players to enroll. Now you have your kid negotiate his financial arrangements before he makes any long-term agreements, thereby giving schools the chance to sweeten the pot and use their predatory skills of attracting the best players possible. In the real world, this would be seen as bribery. In college sports, this is considered a progressive development in the interpretation of antitrust law, which is good, because I can't think of a single 17-year-old kid that doesn't have the keen financial insight to negotiate a lucrative financial plan that's built upon establishing and executing certain financial goals for the future. Granted, at 17, I probably would have wasted my money on video games and dirty magazines, but these are different times. Kids today are far savvier with their investments because antitrust law and NCAA rule provisions almost demand it of them. Well, good luck to all you high school seniors who just sent out all those college applications. I'm sure your school of choice can't wait to start paying you to go there while the rest of us remortgage our homes to pay for our uncoordinated children to learn stuff. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Preventing a house fire, you know what? I'd say that's worth at least $10, wouldn't you? You need to go to Rocky's. First alert smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors are on sale right now. $10 with your Ace Rewards card. $10 plus the 10-year batteries included. You'll find it all at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm back. That's my view from the couch. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 7:10, and Led Zeppelin with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 57. It's 33 right now in downtown Springfield. Brianna Capon-Parizo. Did I get that?
Parizo.
Parizo. I knew I'd screw
there
it
you
up.
go. But it is pronounced Brianna, right?
Brianna. Yeah.
We got that one.
Well, Brianna's wife is an officer at Western New England University. She's been a handler for a canine comfort dog for the last few years. And there seems to be something going on with this whole program, and I'm going to let you explain it to the audience of what's going on here. Western New England is wanting the dog back now, correct?
Yeah,
All
yes.
right. So tell us from the beginning how you obtained the dog to begin with.
So we were looking for a dog. Well, Allie was looking for the dog, and she went through the whole process of creating this comfort dog program with the former chief and who was heavily involved. And we sought out the perfect breeder. We went through all this trouble, and she's been doing a really good job of community building through this program, so much so that we've had immense support from the community about what's going on. So,
and just to be clear, this isn't one of these canine search dogs. It's
No.
it's a comfort dog for students on campus. Is
Absolutely.
That, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So where's the problem going here? There was a change at at the university level.
Yes.
And now that's also changed the entire program of the comfort dog.
So we had a change with the chief, and things have kind of got a little rocky with that. And so Allie has decided to leave Western New England, and we didn't think there was going to be much of a problem because there's a policy that allowed us to purchase Bear. And so when we started inquiring about how would we go about that process, how much we would pay for Bear, that's when we started hitting this wall of, we're not selling him to you. And we're like, well, let's talk to President Johnson about this. We got in contact with his secretary, and we sent him an email, and he wouldn't meet with us. We found out yesterday through his secretary that he's not willing to meet with us. So this is kind of where we're at.
He wouldn't meet with you. Was there any response? Email, letters, anything like that?
No, it was just an email from his secretary that says she has to speak to her immediate supervisor about this, which she has, and essentially he's basically said that it's a done deal. They're not willing to talk about it.
The president isn't her immediate supervisor?
No, the chief. The chief
Chief is.
Yeah.
The chief is, okay.
Yeah.
This is Brianna Capon Perizzo. Did I
Yes,
get that right?
You did.
It's Brianna? Okay, good.
It's Brianna.
So let me understand here. So there was some sort of dialogue, some sort of agreement that you would be able to purchase, that Allie would be able to purchase
Yeah.
Bear once either the dog retired or she retired, or whatever it would be. There was some sort of agreement.
Absolutely. We have the support of the former chief who was involved in creating this policy to begin with. He's wrote a letter to President Johnson, and we have support from the community. It's been really overwhelming.
So here's the part that I don't understand. In the state of Massachusetts, a verbal agreement is a valid agreement. So it's a contract. So if you have some level of an agreement, why would that not be enforceable in a situation? You had the opportunity to buy the dog. Why would you not be allowed?
We don't know. That's our question too.
Isn't there like a big law school over there where someone could maybe
Somebody could help out a little
discern
bit? Yeah,
the
yeah.
laws of nonverbal of verbal contracts?
Yeah, you would think.
So then without the ability or without the allowance of you being able to purchase the dog would then have to be trained by somebody new.
Yeah,
And that's problematic.
It is, because the bond between a handler and their dog, this is like common knowledge. It's, best practices in this type of a situation is that the handler and the dog are together 24/7. This is a very detrimental to Bear. He has health issues that she's trained on that nobody else is. We work closely with his veterinarian. So it's not even just this matter of separating them. It could be risky for his health.
And it's really no different than canine dogs who, do narcotic searches and things like that. Those dogs stay with those officers until the end of their even after they retire,
Exactly.
quote unquote, and until their deaths. Those handlers still keep those dogs
Absolutely.
until the end.
It's a common practice.
So I'm just trying to figure out why you wouldn't allow that to happen. And it's kind of frustrating. I can see where, if you're not getting a response from the administration, everything seems to be up in the air. But the contract is not between – is the contract between the college and the breeder, or is the contract between the breeder and your wife?
So we being my wife and I signed a contract with the breeder, but it was under the understanding that the breeder wouldn't have sold to us unless we had this policy in place that said we had the option to buy Bear should Allie ever leave.
Do you think this is one of those situations where the school is looking at this as like a financial situation, like they would have to go and get a dog trained for this kind of thing, or they may have to get another handler, and they're worried about a cost issue?
I think that probably is part of the equation. To me, it sounds like they're treating him like a piece of equipment at this point and not a living, breathing creature. They were looking at getting a second comfort dog last year, so this is something that they were willing to put money into anyways. So now it would just be a second dog instead of just having Bear.
So I found out about this because several people tagged me in the video that,
Yeah.
that you made for TikTok, which has taken off
Yes.
so far. You're up to like 14,000 views. There's
Yeah.
hundreds of comments on that thing. There's a petition available online for people to sign as well, right?
Absolutely. We're doing a petition through change.org. I really am focusing on an email campaign, though, because names on a piece of paper are impersonal, and letters to President Johnson, I think, will have a bigger effect so that the administration understands that this is more than just a petition, that people care about this dog.
I don't know the exact your cost of hiring a dog trainer or to hiring a dog, but I do believe it is somewhat less than the $64,000 a year they'll charge a student out of state to live on campus. But I have to believe that there are dogs that would be available at a lower cost than what they're worried about, and if it's detrimental to the dog, it just makes perfect sense. You give it, you allow the handler the opportunity to obtain the dog. I'm surprised that you've hit this wall at the administrative level with the university, that there is not at least some explanation or some dialogue that explains their position. It's just a firm no, and I'm kind of surprised that they're your wife being an employee or a soon to be former employee wouldn't at least get that consideration.
Yeah, she's done a lot of really hard work for this community. She implemented the comfort dog program. It wouldn't exist without her. And she's been more than willing to even help them set up and continue working with them so that there is a smooth transition. She's even reached out to breeders that she knows that do this kind of work. They breed for comfort dogs. She has even been able to find a free comfort dog for them. I don't know that they know any of this, though, because they won't talk to us.
What are you hoping to achieve here? Now, we both saw the video on TikTok. I read a lot of the comments they're all in support of
Absolutely.
Of you guys, and certainly in support of Bear the dog. But ultimately, what are you hoping to achieve here? That a conversation with the president of the university, or is it or more than that?
Both. I think that we want to have a conversation. We need him to understand, or them to understand, that he is more than just a piece of equipment. And we want the opportunity to purchase Bear like was originally agreed. We want them to honor the agreement that they'd be operating on since day one.
You mentioned in the video that, and I don't know how much you can talk about this, but there were some issues going on with the changing of the guards with these chiefs and things like that. Does that have anything to do with? And I don't want to blatantly say a retaliation in a way, but is there something that is going on among the staff and the management, so to speak, that is causing these issues that maybe is a retaliatory type of thing?
I honestly don't know. I would hope not. I hope that
Right.
they have a pretty good reputation. I'm sure that that's not something that they're trying to put out there. All I know is that Allie's leaving because she doesn't feel respected there, and this would not even be happening or be a conversation if she felt like it was a place she could continue to work at.
But that's kind of what I'm getting at. Do you think that maybe those issues of a disrespect that she feels, is that part of a retaliatory thing? Well, you're not taking this dog with you either.
I honestly don't know,
Yeah.
and I really hope not. I think that would be a bad look for the university.
Okay.
Why does it remind me of the scene in Wizard of Oz where the lady on the bike wants to take Toto away?
She wants to take Toto
I
away.
don't know why I feel that way, but I feel this is not so unlike what happened there. In your video, you talk about wanting people to email the president of the university
Right.
and to at least try to knock on the door and say, hey, this is a situation that we are that we have a concern about. Is that ultimately what you're like the next step for you here? Is it that you want this to happen?
We want this to happen. We want public to come forward, let them know that this is not the right decision. They're doing the wrong thing, and we're hoping that it helps change their mind. They see that this is not supported by the community. Students are all on their own. They're organizing themselves to get together and show that they also support us, and they don't want Bear to be with a second handler. They want him to be home with his family.
And I also think it's important to point out that you did say to do this in a respectful way, because
Absolutely.
you're not asking for pitchforks, torches,
No.
that kind of thing. This is, you just want answers from an administration. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, we just want a conversation. I'm not looking for bad press by any means, and it didn't have to go this way. This could have been so much easier. They sell Bear to us, we leave peacefully.
Well, I'm sure the Bax and Nagle show is the last thing you guys wanted to do.
I had no idea that I was going to be here this morning.
I don't know. I could see Robert Johnson in a witch hat and green makeup on, riding around with that dog, like you were just mentioning with the Wizard of Oz.
Well, again, I think the larger point here is it's not just that you want the dog, but it's really what's important. What is best for Bear the dog.
Absolutely,
to be with a familiar family and then to have suitable replacements for the university. I mean, it does sound like you've researched it out and taken the steps to make that happen. So any transition that does happen would be a smooth one. I think you've done your due diligence here. So I wish you guys the very best, and hopefully you'll hear something relatively soon.
I sure hope so. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Brianna Capo Perizzo?
Cape and Perizzo.
It's great to have you. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
It's Nagle on Rock 102. It's 7:26 of Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. Yeah, try that. Hey, welcome to the show.
Dan Brown will have. That's all I was going to say. Was Dan Brown had the full forecast for you.
Hey, this week on Baxi's Musical Podcast, my guest is Lamal, the former lead singer of the band Kaja Gugu. You may remember that band who did Too Shy.
Hush, hush, I do I. I do I.
But
I thought it was I do I.
No, it's I to I.
Well, that's not what I heard.
Well, maybe it isn't, but I can assure you that when Lamal sang it, that's what he meant. Anyway, it's a fascinating story about this guy's career. They had that one hit, and then they fired him from the band. And then he went on to score another international hit with the theme song to the film Neverending Story. He's got a brand new single coming out later this month. It's a really, really cool chit-chat, and you can hear it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Rock 102 YouTube channel, rock102.com, as well as the Rock 102 app, which you can download to your Android or iPhone device. And it's all brought to you by Metro Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram at Chicopee, and Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock.
We just heard, a thing about some negative press about Western New England University, but over the weekend they had that robotics competition over there that was successful.
Were any dogs involved?
No, it's all robots.
Okay.
Robots took over Springfield on Saturday and Sunday at this year's first robotics game took place at Western New England University. Sam Spain, the Director of Communications and Advancement for New England First, said the entire goal of the organization is to make students really get excited about robotics. I went to one of these competitions probably about 5 or 6 years ago.
They do one of them battle bots things?
It's not a battle bot thing. It was more of it's a battle between like teams of these really smart kids that put you and I to shame. There's a lot of people that do that, but
that's not hard to do.
It's even harder to swallow when it's like a 15-year-old kid showing you, hey, I built this robot. What did you do? And I'm like, I told a dick joke over the weekend. I don't know.
I made a coffee table out of empty beer cases.
But it was pretty impressive how they had these robots. Like it was like putting balls into like taking balls that were scattered all over the floor, and then putting them into like certain containers and things like that. And the first team to do that wins. It was very impressive. We've had those displays down at the Mayflower Marathon.
We had that the Rosie Robotics program.
Right.
Was it out of Agawam?
Yeah.
They built a robot that was taking food out of a car and bringing them into the tent. Yeah. I don't know how the hell they were able to do that or figure it out, but to me, it was like almost sorcery.
We
what
couldn't
they were
even
doing.
find a good road crew person to do that for us.
I know.
Yeah.
This thing works so efficiently, it didn't have to fill out a timesheet.
But no, I think that's I think the science programs like these are pretty beneficial, especially in this world of changing technology all the time. It's pretty neat to see the results.
We got news coming up next on Rock 102. 7:32 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Happening this morning, a crews worked to put out a fire at a multi-story apartment complex on Carew Street in Springfield starting last night. The Springfield Fire Department had all companies working to put out a fire at the complex at 746 Carew. When 22 News arrived in the area, there was lots of smoke in the air, but it was under control. We didn't see the good parts. There were no injuries, and the Springfield Arson and Bomb Squad is investigating the cause. Updates will be provided as they become available. That's, it's... Hey, you know what? At least if you're going to get displaced, it's a little bit warmer outside.
Yes. Well, you can...
You got to accentuate the positive, Bax. You got to look at listen, if you're going to lose everything in a fire... At least it's the temperatures are not too bad.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at where we're talking about exactly, and the street side view of the house is kind of blocked with a tree, so I don't really know what's going on over that neighborhood. But nevertheless, sorry it burned down.
A river flood warning is in effect for Franklin, Northern Hampshire County, and Hampden County near the Connecticut state line for minor flooding in low-lying areas along the Connecticut River. The Connecticut River is being monitored in Montague through Tuesday afternoon. At 11:30 a.m. on Monday, the stage was at 25.9 feet. The river was expected to rise above flood stage late yesterday afternoon to a crest of 28.5 feet in the evening, then falling below the flood stage sometime this morning into this afternoon. The flood stage is 28 feet, so you're 0.5 feet over. In Northampton, the Connecticut River is expected to have minor flooding through Wednesday afternoon in the vicinity of the Oxbow and the Hadley along the Aqua Vitae Road. Vitae?
I've heard Aqua Vitae. I've heard Aqua Vitae. I've heard it pronounced a million different ways.
No. Aqua Vites are the things that you have up with all the things growing when you can trim them and make them look like pine trees.
Those are arborvitaes.
Oh.
No, Steve. You're thinking of that cologne they used to sell back in the 70s. Green, blue, brown.
No, that's Aqua Velva. You're thinking of that movie I enjoyed with my mother one time with Dennis Hopper.
No, Steve. That's blue velvet.
No, that's the thing my dad used to drink before he passed out.
No, Steve. That's blue nun.
No, it was black velvet.
Black velvet.
Yeah.
Could be the blue nun, too.
Yeah, anyway. Farming interest in Hatfield outside flood dike protection will experience flooding. At 11 a.m. on Monday, the stage was 107.8 feet. It's expected to rise above flood stage whatever. We're fine.
No, we're not fine, Steve. We're threatening levels of flood stage.
And where... Remember they were talking about the drought last week?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, we're still in drought conditions. And then all of a sudden it rains, and then the story yesterday was, the drought conditions are easing up here in western Massachusetts.
As hard as it is to believe, Steve, I believe you can still have a drought, but still have a threat of flooding because the water isn't absorbing and you're not having water evaporating fast enough.
I get that. I'm just talking about the differences in the two stories that they had.
Yes.
It's like, oh, my God, we're never going to – it's going to be a tinderbox here in western Mass. Oh, wait a minute, it rained.
Well, I don't know if you've ever noticed this about news stories, but sometimes they are purposefully alarming and sensational.
Hey, listen, I like having fires. I like having in my contained fire pit. I like doing that, but I haven't been able to do it because the wind has been picking up. And I got all this motor oil to burn and not one place to dispose of it.
Yeah, I got a couple bags of expired fertilizer I'd like to sell you.
Yeah.
You could burn that in the middle of a field.
I mean, I guess it's easy to go dump it down the storm drain, but I think I got to lug it all the way down to the street.
Well, those bags are heavy.
Open the bottles, pour it into the river.
I know.
You know.
You don't have to tell me.
The wildlife really likes that, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, well, initially.
It's like it's like pouring Guinness into an Irishman's mouth. It's you pour motor oil into a stream. Those fish are going to get tanked.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. An unknown number of patients.
I don't know how you're able to sift through that with all the hypodermic needles I shoved down that storm drain.
Oh, those are lawn darts for the wildlife. You ever see a bear playing lawn darts with the hypodermic needles that are dumped down the storm drain?
Folks, we are not suggesting that you dump things down a storm drain. We are simply having fun. The idea of dumping things down a storm drain.
We're entertainers.
That's it. That's it.
Because it's so absurd to do something like that.
Yeah,
you wouldn't do it.
We're not leaders.
Yeah.
We're not leaders. Don't follow our lead.
I would be interested in watching a family of bears do a game of lawn darts, though, with some hypodermic needles.
Jarts. Yeah.
Hey, look at this. I'm a winner. An unknown number of patients have been warned of potentially unsterile surgical equipment at Bay State Wing Hospital in Palmer. According to the Mass Department of Public Health, they were notified by Bay State Wing Hospital of a potential sterilizer unit failure that occurred over a 2-day period in February.
Apparently a spit shine isn't good enough.
Yeah, I guess you can't just... It's Nurse Haktua. She spit on that thing. While the DPH told Western Mass News the sterilizer's indicators passed quality testing during that time period, Bay State Health has notified all the potentially impacted patients and has recommended they receive bloodborne pathogens testing. The testing screens for diseases like hepatitis and HIV. Even if most people are okay and nothing's going to happen, the idea that a hospital is sending you a notice saying, by the way, hey, look, we had some dirty equipment while you were here these couple of days. No big deal. We just need you to come get a blood test for HIV.
I mean, no reason to panic. No reason to panic. And look, if it's not HIV, then maybe one of the many hepatitis strains.
Which one? C, B, or A?
Well, that's your best one.
A?
Actually, none of them are particularly great.
No. On Friday, Western Mass News spoke with attorney Rob DeTusa. He explained that even if the risk of infection is low, the hospital could still face claims for emotional distress damages. This is what I'm talking about.
It's a big deal.
You know, when somebody sends you a thing going, hey, by the way, you might want, hey, everything's fine. You might want to get checked for AIDS.
Do you remember a couple of years ago, this was a problem, and I don't want to say what hospital, but I think the one in Westfield is probably close to it.
Noble Hospital. Yeah.
That there were some reports of some unsanitized colonoscopes.
Yeah.
And apparently that had some people a little nervous about going there. Listen, it's a brief, temporary scare. If you have a procedure that involves some sort of medical equipment and you have to go to one of these hospitals, I'm sure by now everything has been polished up and as clean as a whistle.
This is why I had my colonoscopy at Bay State Franklin, because there's nothing dirty in Greenfield.
I had mine done at a Jiffy Lube.
Oh, that's the place to go. You know, they do have that camera that goes into your engine block. That means two things.
That's right.
Yeah. Check to see. Hey, you got a little sludge up here on one of the pistons.
I use 30 weight as my colonoscopy prep.
5W30. That'll clean you right. No, you use that engine detergent stuff that they have.
That's right.
You know, the stuff that gets all the sludge off your pistons.
That's it.
You ever have sludge on your pistons before?
Listen, I've had my share of pistons. They said you come back in 3 years.
Yeah, listen, that time I dated that mechanic, I had sludge on the piston all day long. Just a little engine detergent will wipe that right off. Western Mass News reached out to Bay State Health regarding the incident, and they said they wouldn't share the number of patients impacted, but in a statement said in part, all patients who required outreach have been notified by their provider, and we have not identified any illness or infection related to this.
But, Rob DeTusa brings up a good point. If you're one of these people that's contacted and you just had some sort of thing done with some medical equipment at a hospital, they say, yeah, there's a possibility that you may or may not have had some exposure to a horrible disease. I would imagine that that's a long weekend before you find out any of the answers.
It's kind of like the anxiety you would get as a young man thinking that your girlfriend was pregnant when you had no money and no job, and
right.
oh my God, what? And you're waiting for that. Clear, easy blue test to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God, one line.
I'm going to take your word for it, Steve.
I'm just saying.
I used the best form of birth control back then. It's when every girl in school said no.
Yeah. I never had to worry about that at all. Nobody would even touch me.
The best form of birth control I ever had was being completely...
was my looks.
was my looks,
yeah.
My personality, and my general demeanor.
Do you need a vasectomy? Look at him. Do you think he needs anything?
Listen, I'd just be wasting your filthy medical supplies if you did.
Yeah. There's no pull and pray. It's just praying. We're praying that he gets some.
Yes,
yeah.
I saved myself by being completely unappealing.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today. I'm glad we get up to all the hard-hitting news stories here on the Bax and Nagle show.
Yesterday at 8:30, we did a newscast without a single damn news story.
Yes, we did. We talked about the leprechauns. That's news. In some other dimension,
sure, yeah,
leprechauns exist.
Yes. All right. I stand corrected.
Yeah. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 57. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 65. It's 33 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
102 Springfield's Classic Rock at 7:51, and Ozzy with Bax and Nagle at Rock 102.
Mix of sun and clouds with a high of 57. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 65. It is 33 right now in downtown Springfield.
Pat Kelly's going to be broadcasting live at Tap Sports Bar at MGM this Thursday from 2 to 6 for Hoops and Hops. Tap Sports Bar is your home for the men's basketball tournament. This Thursday, you can enjoy specials on Coors Light, Miller Lite Towers, and 16-ounce buckets and tap food specials. Pat and the road crew will have plenty of chances to win some nice prizes. And the first 64 people that stop by the Rock 102 table get a chance to pick a random team from the tournament. And if their team wins, they'll score a tailgate Blackstone Grill courtesy of Coors Light and Miller Lite. It's Hoops and Hops at Tap Sports Bar, MGM Springfield, this Thursday, 2 to 6 with Pat Kelly, Coors Light, Miller Lite, and Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock.
Years ago, with Mike Quincy on, talking about like self-driving vehicles. And, I was all for that, self-driving vehicles. And Mike Quincy would be like, no, that's not, like, the best idea because there's a lot of complications with it. And the more stories I see about why it's not a good idea, the more I go, yeah, you're right. This popular YouTuber, Mark Roper, is going viral after he tested a Tesla's self-driving feature to see if it could handle some Looney Tunes technology. He blocked a road with a fake wall the size of a movie screen, painted it to look like the road kept going, and he wanted to see if it would trick the Tesla into crashing through it, and it did. The car never even slowed down.
Really?
He didn't ruin the car because it was just a screen. It wasn't, there was no brick wall behind it.
Now, was he, chasing like a coyote with rockets on his roller skates?
Well, that's what about this Acme company? I think that's a better company right now than Tesla's going.
Their stock is more stable.
Right, Acme. Acme with the rocket skates. The signs that say "mother" on them. As the cliff is falling down,
or those desert approved jet packs.
Yeah, I always kind of wondered what would happen because you ever go to like Disney World or any of those theme parks that have movie sets.
Yeah,
you know how like realistic those city scenes look.
Oh yeah,
when you're standing afar from them, but then you obviously get up close and you realize it's just like one panel. That look, but it's so real looking. That's how they do a lot of like movie scenes and stuff like that. I always kind of wondered how that would be, and now this guy kind of proved it for us that it doesn't work.
No, it's and I'm not surprised because machines are not perfect
Yeah.
ever. Why your DVD player doesn't work or your Ring camera. Yeah, there's always some sort of problem with it.
I wonder how many drunks yesterday on St. Patrick's Day who own a Tesla did the self-driving feature home.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
I mean, if it can do it, it can do it. I want one of those cars that parks it by itself for you. That's kind of neat.
The park assist. Yeah, I don't even know if I could trust that. If I have to parallel park between two other cars, I'm not sure I want to rely on a machine or a computer to do it for me. If I'm such a good parallel parker myself.
I wonder what the insurance is on that. Like what the policy is on an insurance policy. If you take out insurance on a car that self-parks itself, is there a clause in the insurance going, hey, if you use this feature, because I could see that happening.
Yeah,
if you
but I
use
could
this
also
feature and this thing scrapes another car.
But I can also see an automaker not wanting to pay for the liability of that. Well, it must have been operator error. It's a computer that you installed.
Yeah. I don't know. I hear more stories about these self-driving features having failures than I do about any of these parking features.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not confident with that.
I used to have when I had the truck, it had the little lines that would curve when you put it in reverse. It would show you how to parallel park.
Yeah.
It was never accurate because
So-
every parking situation is going to be different. So
Yeah.
how does it can't just adapt to everything. There's always going to be mitigating circumstances that doesn't let it work.
My truck has got pretty good blind spot recognition technology. If something's in the blind spot, it lets you know.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like, because sometimes in a larger vehicle, there are blind spots all over the place. I kind of like the idea that it's alerting that, hey, listen, there's someone right behind you on your tail or right next to you and they're behind you. I can't see it. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure I trust a parking assist to squeeze me into a parking space that I should be able to do myself.
I'm pretty good parallel parker.
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm terrific at it.
I'm the original Spider-Man, parallel parker. I can sweep right into a thing. That was actually the one thing on my driving test when I was 16 years old. Got 100% on.
Was the parallel parking?
Even the guy in the car, the instructor, whatever he was, the officiant.
Yep.
I guess the race officiant. He was like, "Wow, that was pretty good." Of course, he yelled at me for almost failing to yield a right of way, but that's a completely different story. Yeah. But
Well, I didn't want to humiliate you through the entire experience.
yeah, I'm pretty good at the parallel parking thing.
It's 7:57 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's time for Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Benjamin Moore Paint, Cabot Stains, plus rock-solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, let's face it, with about 3 weeks left to go before the NBA playoffs, I think we can all agree this is no time for unexpected delays, hiccups, or disruptions. The regular season's at a critical juncture as teams around the league are busy trying to get themselves situated for postseason play. That means that we must all do our part. The players need to play, coaches need to coach, and ticket-paying fans have to stop vomiting from the courtside seats. Last night at Madison Square Garden, as the Knicks were on their way to handing the Miami Heat their 8th straight loss, play was delayed for a full 10 minutes during the third quarter. According to reports, the game was paused after a fan sitting courtside began blowing chow all over the court. The fan in question was actor-comedian Tracy Morgan. Tracy was quickly attended to by medical professionals and was removed from his seat in a wheelchair. The delay continued for several more minutes while staff members cleaned, dried, and disinfected the entire area. Only after the court had been cleared of the vomit was the game allowed to continue, with the Knicks winning the game 116-95. Folks, I can see vomiting during an NBA game if you're a fan of the Miami Heat or the Utah Jazz or some other team that sucks, but the Knicks have the third best record in the Eastern Conference. This is not the time for explosive fan vomiting during crucial late-season play. I should also point out that courtside seats at Madison Square Garden can run you up to $5,600 per ticket. You start puking in the back row, I'm pretty sure there's no delay a game, and there's a pretty good chance that the maintenance staff are going to wait till everybody leaves before somebody grabs a mop. The good news is Tracy Morgan's going to be fine, but more importantly, the Knicks have now won 6 out of their last 10 games and will be on the road against the Spurs tonight, who are absolutely terrible. The reason I'm bringing this up, of course, is because if you have courtside seats for the Celtics game tonight, you might want to consider putting your vomit in designated areas or receptacles when they host the Brooklyn Nets tonight at 7:30. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. You know, there's a new Traeger in town, the Traeger Woodbridge, a fully digital wood pellet grill, now $800 at Rocky's. High-tech, digital control, down-to-earth wood fire flavor. Thing's amazing. Get yourself a Traeger Woodbridge today at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:11 and Whitesnake with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 57. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 65. It is 33 right now in downtown Springfield. Are you ready for another round of Am I the A-Hole?
Yes.
I know. Whatever. There's no getting around that, I guess. This is actually a pretty good one, because I've always wondered what would happen
Okay.
if somebody at a company was trusted with such information and then they got let go. Am I the a-hole if I don't provide the code my boss needs after they fired me? I got fired / laid off 3 months ago. They made it look like a layoff because they wanted someone with more expertise than a senior manager, more like a director level, and there was nothing I could do. I knew that was a BS excuse as they hired a junior level who was trained to fill my position. My last 2 weeks, my boss didn't even ask for anything. He avoided any communication and directed me to HR if I wanted communication. No exit or offboarding was done, and he considered himself overqualified to do an offboarding with me. This must be like English or something.
I guess.
Offboarding, layoff, I don't know.
I don't even know what that is.
Fast forward 3 months after my last day, I receive a message from him trying to log into one of the systems, and because of the 2-step verification, the second step comes to my phone. He tried like 2 days, then reaching out to me and reaching out to me like nothing happened and wanted me to provide the code. I ignored it completely, but now I'm wondering, should I have given the code to him? Am I the a-hole for withholding this information from my former employer?
I don't know. I mean, what are they holding over you? I mean,
that's the thing. I mean, I've seen companies let people go and then reach back out to them going, hey, by the way, we're going to need that pertinent information on how to log into this computer system.
Yeah, I think if they say, listen, we're going to withhold your severance pay until we get this back, well, then at that point you say, okay, here you go. But if there's none of that, piss off. You're the ones who fired me because apparently I had a bad attitude.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. If I'd say screw them. I mean, if they screwed you over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, let's say, for example, hypothetically speaking, our employer gives me the boot because they don't like the attitude I spread around this place. Let's just say that were to happen.
Yeah.
They're not getting any of my good stuff from the office.
You don't have any good stuff, though.
I got good stuff.
What do you got that's good?
I've got some things that are my business.
Remember we had that situation here where an employee got demoted and then he still had access to all of these things. Mm-hmm. And then years down the road, something nefarious happened with that. And that was like a big kick in the ass,
yes,
I would say, to a company.
Yes.
Usually you take things away from somebody you've demoted. Keys or access to video games or anything like that.
Loads of gift cards.
Yeah, loads of gift cards. I'm just saying.
Yeah, hypothetically speaking.
I mean, some companies do trust employees a little too much.
Yes,
with information, especially when they're going to have to let them go someday.
But if you're letting somebody go, then you need that stuff right away. Going back after the fact, like 2-3 months later, forget about it. You're never going to see that stuff.
Yeah, I kind of see it as payback. That might not be the most moral thing to think,
but it's true.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Is it? Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm just, I don't know.
Yeah, tough
All right.
question.
You want to go to another one?
Let's go to another one.
All right. Am I the a-hole for leaving my boyfriend after finding a woman in our bed? So I, 26 female, I'm going on a trip to London with my sister today. I've been staying with her since yesterday because she lives close to the airport. I realized I forgot my passport at my apartment where my boyfriend, 27, and I live together, and I had to go back and get it. So I did. I texted him this morning to let him know I was coming back to get my passport, but he didn't respond. When I got there, he looked really antsy and suspicious. I went into our bedroom and found a woman I don't recognize lying on our bed, fully clothed. I just went on autopilot, grabbed my passport, and told him we're over and left. Now my boyfriend is blowing up my phone saying that the woman is his longtime friend and that she's a lesbian who just needed a place to crash for the night. I don't believe him because he's never mentioned anything about her staying over while I was gone, and the whole situation feels off. He's saying I'm making a huge mistake, and he's telling the truth, but honestly, I'm just really hurt and confused. Yeah. He's begging for me to hear him out and is apologizing, but the whole situation is not right. So am I the a-hole for leaving him? Should I believe his explanation, or is my gut telling me the truth? We signed the lease just 2 months ago, and I'm literally leaving the country today, so it's a horrible and stressful situation.
Well, I mean, it's impossible to know who's right or wrong in this situation, but this dude he's just got this longtime friend. You know, whether she's gay or not is irrelevant. At the very least, he should have said something. Hey, listen, or text and said, listen, my friend is drunk. I'm giving her the bed. I'm taking the couch. That's it.
If you have to lie, a little lie like that,
Yeah.
what else are you hiding? Like that's kind of where I come from on that.
See, I would have had full disclosure ahead of time. Mm-hmm. You know, to me, that makes more sense because I don't want to have to go back and try to explain myself out of some deep hole that I've dug myself. Much more.
What deep hole means two things.
Yeah,
in this
right.
situation.
But it makes much more sense to be fully upfront and say, listen, I got a problem. She's here. She's passed out. I'm going to sleep on the couch. Nothing's going on. If you want to come over here and share the couch, that would be fine, just to confirm what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it.
I think this guy is getting his due.
I think so. I think so.
He's again, if you're going to lie about something like that, what else are you lying about?
Right.
Listen to me. I sound like a woman.
You don't look like one, so you got that going for you.
Am I the a-hole for exposing my fiance's adult diaper fetish at our wedding rehearsal and calling off the wedding?
Boy, that's a tough one.
Okay, I need to get this off my chest because I'm still in shock and absolutely torn about what I did, and I don't know if I'm the a-hole or not. I, 28 female, was set to marry my fiance Ryan, who's 30, in a few days. We've been together for 4 years, and I thought I knew everything about him, but apparently I did not. So here's the backstory. A few months ago, Ryan came to me and admitted he had an adult diaper fetish. I'll be honest, my first reaction was laughter. I thought he was joking, but no. He told me that he loved wearing diapers and being, quote, taken care of, and it was something that had been part of him for years. He also admitted he'd been doing this behind my back for the entire time we'd been dating, and it was something that, according to him, he could not control.
Okay.
Which is why he's wearing the diapers. No control.
Right.
At least you got padding below. Anyway, I tried to be understanding. I've even researched the fetish to try to wrap my head around it, but the more I thought about it, the more I was disgusted. I kept thinking about him in diapers, about what it meant for our future, and how I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Fast forward to the wedding rehearsal dinner, and I'm nervous. I've been keeping this secret for months, and I've been trying to convince myself that I could just move past it and marry him anyway, but I could not. I felt like I was about to marry someone who had a side of them I could never, ever accept. So I did the unthinkable. In the middle of the rehearsal dinner with both of our families and the bridal party all there, I stood up, grabbed the mic, and said, "There's something I need to tell everyone before we go any further with this wedding." Everyone went silent, and I continue, and I said, "Ryan has a fetish. He wears adult diapers, and he's been hiding it from me and from all of you for our entire relationship." The room went silent. Ryan's face went bright red, and he tried to stop me, but I just kept going. I told everybody about the secret text I found, the pictures he had kept hidden, and how he had been forced to confront him about it because I could no longer ignore it. I broke down in front of everyone. I told them I couldn't marry someone with such a deeply ingrained fetish, and I couldn't accept. I said I wasn't going to be his mommy or caregiver, and that I couldn't live my life constantly worried about him wanting me to play along with something that made me physically uncomfortable. Ryan stormed out of the dinner, and people were staring back at me in disbelief. Some were furious, some were supportive, but most were just in shock. His family is livid. They called me heartless, said I humiliated him, and I should have handled it properly. So am I the a-hole for revealing my fiance's fetish at the rehearsal dinner?
What? I don't even know why you would need to ask this question.
Yes, you are.
You are an a-hole.
Because the issue is between you and him and should have been settled. You should have really thought about this until to get all the way up until the rehearsral dinner. Even if you called it off a week before, at least you're taking care of your pride. You don't want to get into a relationship like this, but you should have called it off earlier.
Well, listen, we all have things that we are interested in from afar, or maybe we're acting them out. I'm sure that there's a chance that she may have some fetishes that she's not talking about. How would she feel if this guy were to suddenly stand up? Oh, yeah? Well, you're not going to believe what she likes.
Hey, listen, honey, I love you. When you told me you knew how to get Desitin out of sheets using just baking soda and Dawn dish detergent, I knew you were the one for me.
Yes, she is, in fact, the a-hole.
That is, I mean, it is an odd thing to have.
It's an odd thing, but if it's your thing, then you're right. It's between these two people to reconcile.
Yeah, it really wasn't her place to go out and tell everybody in the world.
Not after everybody's accepted the invitation and bought a gift.
You've been intimate for 4 years. Then you find out that he's
What are you gonna do during the baby shower? And someone gives you the gift of diapers.
Do you love me? Depends.
Yeah, see what I'm saying?
Hey, we come up with the jokes.
Yes.
That's how we go.
It's 8:22 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
GG Inc.'s
8:32 with Bax and Nagle and Rock 102. It's time for news. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Major fire last night on Carew Street. Crews worked to put out a fire at a multi-story apartment complex last night in Springfield. The fire department had all companies working to put out the apartment complex fire on 746 Carew last night. When 22 news crews arrived in the area, there was lots of smoke in the air. It's crazy, but the fire was under control. We missed a good part.
So they weren't able to see any of the good parts, huh?
No.
That's too bad.
There were no injuries, and the arson and bomb squad is investigating the cause. So, there you go. Police in Chicopee are warning residents against cryptocurrency schemes. I thought it was shemmies.
Nope, that's scheme.
Because you're getting shemmied out of money.
No, you're getting schemed out of money.
Pretty sure it's shemmy. I think they got it all wrong.
No, that's an American make of car.
That's a Chevy. Why did I have to think about that?
I don't know.
The police department posted a warning on Monday about a new Bitcoin shimmy where people have called stating there was a problem with their Facebook account and was asked for a payment in Bitcoin to fix the problem. Bitcoin and crypto are commonly used in shimmies as they are one of the hardest to trace and one of the most anonymous, which makes it very hard for somebody to get their money back.
All right, let me unpack this here for you for just a minute. First of all, it's anonymous. Then it's scheme. And thirdly, if you're being asked to pay something in Bitcoin or gift cards, you're an idiot if you actually comply with that demand, because nobody in their right minds wants you to pay anything with Bitcoin or gift cards.
You know, watching the price of that thing go way up and then way down, and the only people who are really benefiting from that are the smart ones that bought it at like 20 cents.
Yeah, and already sold it.
And 15 years ago, and now the thing's worth, what is it, $70-something thousand? It was up to like $120,000 for each one.
But if Tom Brady can get screwed with Bitcoin, imagine what the rest of us could get screwed with.
I don't understand why, like, how many people are transferring Bitcoin back to each other so much that you have these kiosks in gas stations. You ever see those?
Oh, yeah.
The Bitcoin kiosks. I don't pay anybody in Bitcoin.
Listen, I don't use those vending machines for anything more than a bag of chips or some handicap hot fries, and that's about it.
I still don't understand really what crypto is.
Well, I would like to give you an education on it, but I'm confused by not so much what it is, but the practical use of it. I mean, I can understand investing in something in it, in its own currency. I can understand that, but practically speaking, I'm not going to go to Big Y and get my groceries and pay with Bitcoin.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
I mean, if it's only used for certain things like software trading or whatever the hell, whatever, or you're paying for computer work or whatever that is,
right?
Then you have to convert that into dollars or wherever you're living. If you live in Europe, you got to change it over to euros. If you live here, you got to change it over to dollars.
It's almost like you're investing into something and you're taking someone's word for it, like investing in gold. People who invest in gold can make a lot of money, but do you ever see the gold that you've invested in? No.
Silver? I've never seen the silver
No,
either.
I haven't. No one has invited me to the silver mines to take a look at what I'm investing in.
I saw Silver and Gold by the great Burl Ives once.
Oh, that's a great song,
That
isn't it? That is a good song.
A timeless classic.
He used to be such a big hit maker back in his
Voice
day.
of an angel.
He
really,
really.
Yeah.
There's something warm and inviting about the sounds of the great late Burl Ives.
It's like wanting to drink hot cocoa in front of a snowman. That's how I feel every time I hear Burl Ives.
Agreed.
Hours after that warning was posted, an officer went to hang up a notice on the Bitcoin ATM in the city. An officer was able to stop an elderly man from depositing money to the pay shemer. The man thought he was posting bail for a family member and was about to deposit $4,000.
He even made you choke.
It made me burp. That's what I was doing. I'm enjoying our coffee machine.
I'll tell you what, this is a delicious brew.
Oh, this is a Starbucks blend.
Yep, I can feel it.
Now, if I mix the Starbucks with the Dunkin', do you think that'll taste any good?
It might smooth out the coffee a little bit.
A balance.
I find Starbucks a little harsh.
I find Dunkin' a little weak sometimes.
Maybe blending it would be a happy medium.
Yeah, we could be like the coffee whisperers. We could be mixing different coffees together and get a bag of Shelburne Falls and mix it all together.
Now you're talking crazy talk.
No, that's not crazy talk. That's balancing our lives, Bax.
Well,
we have to bring balance. It's like bringing balance to the force.
Well, I'd pick up a pound or two, but I'm a little tied up today. Maybe tomorrow I can get something.
Do you have any Bitcoin I can borrow and go pick up a couple of pounds of coffee?
Yeah, let me grab my wallet and see if I can pull anything out there for you from my blockchain.
Seriously, if you got any Bitcoin, you can deposit it to my bank account. To my Bitcoin account.
You're not gonna buy dinner.
Yeah.
At say like Nadim's with Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't think he's going to take Bitcoin. I think he prefer like a credit card or cash.
Yeah, I think that's usually the way that most people pay.
Yeah, I'm not. Again, it doesn't seem practical to me.
A man from West Hartford was arrested for an incident at a South Windsor home on March 14th. South Windsor police identified the man as 33-year-old Ramesh Chand. Police said they received a report of an Uber driver who had asked a customer if he could use the customer's bathroom after he dropped him off at home. I would never let somebody in my house. After a few minutes, the driver opened the door himself and was seen pleasuring himself.
Pleasuring himself or manipulating himself for bathroom activities.
What's your name, Jack? Can you stop the car and let my customer jack off, please?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't let the guy in my house.
Officials have identified the driver as Chand. Police contacted Chand and then said he turned himself in. Well, he's used to doing things on his own. Chand was arrested on charge of disorderly conduct but has since been released on a $1,500 bond. He was scheduled to make a court appearance on April 2nd in Manchester. Again, you don't have to be that nice.
As a customer?
Yeah. Listen, no. There's a McDonald's down the street. There's a Sunoco right around the corner. You don't need to be coming into my home to go to the bathroom.
You know, there are probably places the driver could pull over and go, as long as you make that arrangement with the customer. So listen, I will get you to your destination, but I really got to go snap a big one right here.
See, I would be like, what? We got to go number 1 or number 2? Number 3. I have to go number 3.
Which is not 2 plus 1.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's not both at the same time. It's something completely different. I think we've sucked the air out of the room long enough here this morning.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, we are short on time. Do we keep going or?
Maybe one more.
One
quick,
more?
One quick one.
I don't know if we can. Well, that's what he was doing in the bathroom. What are you doing? I'm going number 3. Leave me alone.
What are you doing in there?
Nothing.
Counting.
Why would you open the door on somebody, though?
I don't know.
I can see. What are you doing in there? Nothing. No. What does that sound? It sounds like a toilet paper rolling.
I'm washing my hands.
I'm shaking hands with the unemployed. That's what I'm doing. Oh, wait. The driver opened the door himself. Oh, so the driver was the guy probably knocked on the door, and then the driver was the one that opened the door with
Well, how the hell did he do that?
I found your summer sausage in the cabinet. What was it doing in there? You like Dickory Farms too? Do you ever have a Dickory Farms package? The cheeses and the summer sausage are delicious.
I love this bathroom reader.
Yeah, who is this Uncle John anyway? Got some good tricks and tips in there. Just the tips. All right. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today is going to be a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 57 tomorrow, sunny with a high of 65. It's 33 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Aw, yeah.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:51, and Stone Temple Pilots of Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
I'm ready to make a movie.
I'll tell you what, there's a great program that's going on for the last couple of years called the 48-Hour Film Project. It's going on all across the country, and the city producer for the city of Boston is Andrew Osborne, a guy that I've known since literally 1981, and it's actually 11 years ago to the day that he was on the show the last time around when he was at South by Southwest. So it's great to welcome back Andrew Osborne. How you doing, Andrew?
Hello, Bax.
Yeah, it's great.
Nagle.
It's great. It's great to talk.
And Nagle as well.
Yeah, I'm here.
It's both of us. It's both of us. First of all, it's great to talk to you. Secondly, this whole project I find is really, really interesting, and I've seen some of the results of it. There's some YouTube videos of some of the films and some of the music that was created for this project. Tell us a little bit about the 48-Hour Film Project.
Well, the 48-Hour Film Project, it's actually the 25th year since it started in Washington, D.C. This year is our anniversary. Boston's been going almost as long. Boston started in 2023, and I've been producing the event since 2019 after participating in it as a team leader, and my mom won Best Actress one year for her iconic performance as Miss Mooney in Sockbox, which everyone knows, of course. But basically, it's a competition where you have 48 hours to make a 4 to 7 minute movie, and it all starts in Boston May 2nd this year, on a Friday evening where you randomly get two genres. So you could get like science fiction and Western, or you could try to make a science fiction Western. You could try combining them. And then every team has to include the same character, line of dialogue, and prop. And as long as you include those items and you do a movie in your genre and you get it done in 48 hours. It screens at the Somerville Theater in Davis Square in Somerville, Mass, and online for a chance to win Best Movie of Boston, and the best movie from each 48-hour film project city around the world goes on to compete for a spot at the Cannes Film Festival.
I mean, that's unbelievable. Anyone who's like a young filmmaker or even an adult filmmaker, the opportunity or even the chance to have something go that far, pretty remarkable.
It's amazing to just have a thought in your head, 1 minute, and then suddenly it's up on a movie screen with audiences watching it, cheering, laughing, crying, whatever you're hoping that they would do. Because usually it takes so long to get a movie made, and to just, whatever you're doing, it's a great experience. And you also meet all these other filmmakers. I know somebody from who was in one of the winning 48-hour film projects a while back, went on to, he's now the guy with the arrow through his neck on Ghosts on ABC. And we've had people who've met each other on 48-hour film project teams who went on to work in the cast and crew of the Oscar-winning movie Coda that was filmed in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And you can participate from anywhere because a lot of it's virtual, so you can. Well, it's hybrid, so you can attend in person, or you can wherever you are in New England, you can submit your stuff online and participate that way. And we also have New England 48s. So there's one in Boston. That's the first one that comes up. Then over the summer, there's Providence, Rhode Island, New Haven, Connecticut, and Portland, Maine to also have 48s in New England.
Andrew, I got a couple of questions. How many entries do you usually get for this thing?
Well, in Boston, we usually get somewhere in the neighborhood of 70. We have 4 screenings, and usually it's about 60 teams screen. So once you get past 60, you go onto the waiting list so that there's, just to make sure there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
And we actually have spots for 19 teams left if you go to 48hourfilm.com/Boston. But if you want to just be on a team, you can also go to tinyurl.com/New England 48 HFP to see if a team needs cast and crew. So if you're not ready to run your own team, you can join somebody else's team. And especially for listeners of rock radio, if you have a band, we are always encouraging bands to get involved and grant music to teams so that they can feature it on original soundtracks. We had a winning film a couple of years ago where the band liked the movie so much that their music was featured in that they turned the movie into their official music video.
Oh,
that's
well,
awesome.
That's a good idea.
This is Andrew Osborne from the city producer of the Boston 48-hour film project. The thing I like about this, there's a lot of people who would say, "Oh, make a film." I'm not, what do I know about making a film? I would never be good at it. The restriction of 48 hours, I think, kind of levels the playing field for everybody involved. It's not a hindrance. It's actually a benefit for people who may not have a certain amount of experience that somebody else does. And I think that's one of the things that I like about this is it gives everybody a real good chance of moving on and participating and actually succeeding in this.
And what's really fun about it is, on the one hand, because everybody's racing, and everybody's got the same 48 hours, it feels like being on a reality show, and it's very addicting. We have people who come back and do it year after year. But yeah, the nice thing too is that anybody can do it. We have teams that are, maybe their day job is shooting ads and whatever else, and they want to do something creative. But we also have teams that compete just with their phone. They get some friends together and just shoot something on their phone with no experience, and all the movies have the same chance of moving on because there's different rounds of judging. We have the audience votes on their favorite, and so there's an audience award-winning film in each screening. Then we have judges who are film professionals and movie critics, and they pick films. We also partner with Women in Film and Video New England, and they choose a film. And this year, Boston Casting's going to give. They're a casting agency. They're going to give an acting award. So there's lots of different ways to get awarded and also sort of grow your fan base. A lot of times, like movies that I really like don't get awards, but I remember them years later. Sometimes I'm singing the songs from the movies too.
I might do this, Andrew, because I've always had this idea.
Oh, yes.
I've always had this idea for a short film called The Sock Whisperer, where I have this magical power where I can speak to my socks. And they tell war stories of how, they've been through hell and back, like the dryer. And then how they've lost loved ones along the way and couldn't find them behind that. I think that would be a good concept for a film.
Kind of like a Ken Burns documentary.
Yeah, a Ken Burns documentary, but with socks. And all kinds of socks.
Well,
dress socks, tube socks. You got it. You name it.
As I mentioned, my mother is an award-winning sock co-star, so I can set up a meeting with the two of you if you're interested. If you want a little sock star power,
I've met Andrew's mom, and she's a dynamo. So you could be well served with that casting call right there.
It's either that or 4 minutes of me trying to make the perfect sandwich.
As long as it's between 4 and 7 minutes, it's in.
You do have to register your team, and you have to do it before. In fact, the deadlines are coming up fairly soon. If somebody wanted to do this, Andrew, where should they go?
They should go. Well, we're currently in early bird, the early bird registration period, which is cheaper. Plus, one team that signs up during early bird will get their registration for free. But otherwise, early bird ends April 8th for the Boston 48-Hour Film Project. But you can, if there's space, you can register right up until Friday, May 2nd, which is the kickoff, when all the teams find out their genres and elements and the clock starts ticking. So you can register late if there's still space available, but you need to go to 48hourfilm.com/Boston, and that is where you can register. You can also find links to all our social media, and I'm going to actually be doing a networking event online this Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. at Cambridge Center for Adult Education in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and also on Zoom. And if you go to the Boston 48-Hour Film Project Facebook group, I'm going to be posting information about that later today.
Fantastic.
Very cool.
Andrew Osborne, great to talk to you. We'll catch up soon.
I hope so, and I'm looking forward to your sock performance.
Yes, I think we have a story here.
Good to talk to you, Andrew. It's 9:01.
Yes. Oh, and the screenings are in May and then in June, so you can come and watch the movies as well.
Sounds good. Andrew Osborne with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock. It's 9:10 and 38 special with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. Try that.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
Yesterday we were talking about how we could do that Big Mac diet where you run 6 miles to a McDonald's, you eat a Big Mac, and then you run all the way home, and you could probably lose weight doing that. This is almost the exact same thing.
Except the food is substantially better than, say, like a Big Mac. Then not to badmouth McDonald's in any way, shape, or form, but when you talk about UMass Dining, and it's one of the best dining facilities in all of college, it's a different deal.
Yeah.
The UMass 5K Dine and Dash is coming up Saturday, April 26th. In the studio to talk about it is Lindsay Restaino. Good to see you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So as a fitness guru, if you will, would you agree with that? That's the best way to lose weight is by just eating one high caloric item per day and then running all the way back home?
No.
Probably not. Yeah, I
wouldn't suggest that.
But the UMass 5K Dash and Dine, not only is this a fun thing to do, but it also benefits the Amherst Survival Center.
Correct.
As
yes.
well. And do you know a little bit about the work they do down there at the Survival Center?
I know that it's definitely crucial for the campus. I know a lot of these race things are benefiting the Survival Center.
Right. But as far as getting ready for this race, we have we're now 6 weeks out from this whole thing.
Correct.
What are some things you can do to start preparing to? Because a lot of people, they haven't never run a 5K.
No,
before.
they just like hope for the best and
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
I definitely would say you want to try to follow a program that's going to give you walking days, running days, and a strength training day, and of course, like rest days.
But I shouldn't plan those after the event, right?
No, not after.
Like I should start training like on April 27th.
Right. No, you want to do this like now,
Ah.
ASAP, to be successful in this race.
I think Bax is the kind of guy that would wait until the day after the race to start training.
Actually, my dash and dine, Steve and Lindsay, if I may be honest, would be to the car and then to the dining facility for lunch and then back to the car.
That's a good warm-up.
I think you'd be surprised how nimble I can be when it comes to lunch.
Yeah, I've done the dine then dash. That's
Yes.
a completely different thing, and that Denny's will never get their money back. I'll tell you that. But this takes place on the UMass campus. It is a 5K race, which in English terms is what 3.2,
Yep.
3.2 miles.
Nailed it.
And it's kind of a hard run because of the hills that are going on over up in Amherst up there.
Yes, unfortunately, there are lots of hills, but it's still a really good, fun race to do. You can always walk it as well. You don't have to really run it if you want to slow your pace down.
Now, Bax, you want to do this?
You know, I mean, it is all very, very tempting, but I've got emergency surgery on April 26th. I got a funeral to go to that day,
Oh, no.
and so I don't know.
Calling in sick that day.
No, I don't know. I don't know who died yet, but I'll pick one and just go.
But there's delicious award-winning food to be had afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. No free banana at the end of this. Like you get to eat lunch.
Burgers, pizza, all the good things.
Now, you're a fitness expert, right? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, you own it. You own a gym.
I own a gym in Holyoke.
Now,
yes.
what's the name of the gym?
The Reset.
The Reset.
It's
Okay,
in,
so
Open Square.
We're
All right.
open square. Okay.
all right. So if I were to run, now again, I'm not a runner. I'm a lover. But if I'm a runner and I'm going to run the 3.5 mile, the 5K, would you suggest that immediately following that run, if I am not what you would call in anything beyond geometric shape, would chowing down like real heavy be a mistake?
I would listen to how you feel after that run race. Like I would definitely make sure that your heart rate's down. You're not
Okay, but once the defibrillators have been used,
then yes, I would maybe slow your pace of eating down too. I wouldn't like woof it down.
are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, that's because really, I mean, there's going to be some people that are used to this kind of distance, and there will be some people that have never done this distance doing it for the very first time.
First time, right?
So,
yes.
so packing down the old chow pipe probably not the best idea in quantities that you may have been used to before even thinking about running a 5K.
Right.
Yeah, I did make that mistake one year. I once because Brian Lapis is a part of this.
Oh, is he really?
Almost every year, and him and I challenged each other to a sushi eating contest at the UMass County.
Nice.
Who
won? Did you win?
I won, of
All
course.
right.
Yeah, of course I did.
He's a beast.
Yeah,
He's a beast. He's a real gorilla when it
I
comes
can
to
fit
sushi.
it a spicy tuna rolls. So many. Whatever. I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, but this is the UMass Dash and Dine 5K Dash and Dine happening Saturday, April 26th. Where can people sign up for this?
People can sign up online on the runumass.com website, and you definitely want to try to register before the 26th. I
Yep.
think registration ends at midnight on the 24th.
What time does this begin?
The race starts at 11. There's a fun run if you want to bring the kiddos along at 10, but the race is at 11.
I won that one year.
Yeah, well, you pushed all the kids out of the way.
Kicked all those kids' butts. I'm like, see, you can't catch up to me.
The UMass 5K Dash and Dine, April 26th. It's a Saturday. Lindsay Restano, great to see you. Best of luck.
Thaning you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming
It's 9:16 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.